It is the first truly live edition of the Post Daily News Show. I am John Pollock, and I am in the flesh here at the Wai Ting compound. Hello, Wai.
What the hell are you doing here?
I just showed up.
What the hell?
I wanted to see what it looked like from this vantage point over here. This is how it all works. Multiple screens going, all a beautiful light system. You have a better setup than I do. You definitely do.
Well, thank you so much, John. But this is a bit unusual. The first time you and I are in the same place.
We've never met.
This is our first meeting, after knowing you for well over a decade through Zoom.
Nice to meet you.
Here you are.
You're a lot taller in person.
No, I guess we've done podcasting side by side before, but maybe never for one of these. This is the first time we're doing that for one of these.
Yes. I really just want to see the Infinity Gauntlet in person. And it's
it
wonderful. I tried it on earlier, and I tried to snap, and I nearly broke it. So it's a lot of fun to be here. We just wrapped up our latest edition of Talk, which is going to be dropping tonight for Post Wrestling Cafe members. And we'll get that out of the way because it's a packed night here at Post Wrestling. Tuesday night, you have plans? Just cancel them all because tonight you've got Talk dropping on the Post Wrestling Cafe. Live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Brandon Thurston is going one-on-one with Chris Harrington, SVP at All Elite Wrestling. They are going to be chatting about many AEW-related topics, I'm sure including Revolution this weekend, and no shortage of a discussion to have. So that will be streaming live on the WrestleNomics YouTube channel, and the audio of that will be available on both the WrestleNomics feed and the Post Wrestling RSS feed. So you can check out that chat. Whenever those two get together, it's always a must listen to interview. So check that out at 6 Eastern tonight. And then your nightcap after NXT live at 10:15 Eastern. Braden Harrington and Davey Portman will be live chatting about NXT 2.0 with Up Next. So a triple header tonight.
No shortage of content to keep you company, and a lot of it is going to be great.
You don't need a life. You don't need anybody else in your life besides us. We are your life.
Yeah.
Believe, achieve, obey. That sounds like a cult. But we have lots to talk about today. We're going to get into a lot of the news items. Wait, what do you think about doing this side by side? Is this a little too personal?
It's super awkward.
Yeah,
I have to say, like, this
because we're not even like looking eye to eye here.
Yeah, so it feels like that SNL sketch where it's the two community radio, we're about to talk about the
sweaty balls,
that sort of thing. Yeah,
with Alec
like
Baldwin.
we're here to talk about the community fair that's taking place this Sunday. This is super odd, but I'll get used to it.
I'm just going to show up and knock on your door every day at 5 to 1, and we will see. I brought you a gift today as well because I don't come unarmed either. I bring gifts.
You did give me a gift, an expensive one too. So thank you for that.
You let me into your home. I got to check out the renovation. So guys, it was worth all the sound over the last few weeks because a wonderful looking kitchen, a bathroom. Corey and Carmella would put an offer on this place in a heartbeat.
I think you're the first person besides being my wife to use our new bathroom. So congratulations!
Yes,
thanks for breaking it in.
It's been christened. So let's get into our news items. Man, why do you have to make a joke like that when we have to get into a serious topic off the bat here? But we talked about this briefly at the start of Rewind to Raw because literally this story was breaking just as we went on to the air. So I don't want to delve too much into it without knowing all of the details, but a few more coming out. This regarding Cain Velasquez, who was involved in a shooting in San Jose. And Cain Velasquez, TMZ Sports reporting, as well as the NBC affiliate in the Bay Area, that Cain Velasquez was arrested and facing an attempted murder charge. This occurred on Monday afternoon in the Bay Area. And they put out a statement that the motive and circumstances are under investigation. One person was shot and taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. As of last report, Cain Velasquez was still in custody and is going to be appearing in court on Wednesday. So this is a very significant story for Cain Velasquez, who has largely been removed from mixed martial arts, has not fought since 2019, but of course moved on to professional wrestling, most recently returning to AAA and just a couple of months ago for their Triple Mania card. And this is certainly going to be a story to follow, and what charges Cain Velasquez faces, and learning more about what led to this. Again, it's very vague in terms of what led to this, but nonetheless, a person was shot in all of this. So I don't know how much more to add to this, other than, for those that have followed Cain Velasquez his entire career, this would seem very much out of character.
Very much so. I mean, not that you can infer really any sort of thing like this from I don't know how quiet somebody might be, but certainly shocking when I heard about it. And I mean, it's a story that's still developing, so I don't know how much I can really say about it for now, other than the fact that oh God, like, I guess good thing that nobody got injured, or at least nobody was fatally wounded. It sounds like so. The story develops, and it's a tough one to talk about.
I think you certainly want to learn more about like the circumstances behind this as well. But we'll continue to monitor that story. But that is the latest on Cain Velasquez. We go back to Friday, and we have television numbers, starting off with Friday Night SmackDown that held up incredibly well. Friday, of course, was just wall-to-wall cable news coverage with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and therefore cable news dominated Friday night. But SmackDown, we have seen this. It was an example on January 6th last year that NXT held up a lot better than AEW did. And granted, like, SmackDown is airing on network television as opposed to Rampage being on cable, where it's going to be more impacted. But nonetheless, SmackDown did 744,000 in the demo, a 0.57, and 2,114,000 viewers. So it was the number one program on television Friday, with viewership only dropping 3%. 18 to 49 was up 5.5%. 18 to 34 up 6%. And they did go against the weaker NBA game between Miami and New York, which was, like, to give you a sense of where how much news was controlling the chart on Friday. The Miami-New York game was 16th on cable. Usually you would see the NBA significantly higher. And the late game between the Lakers and Clippers, it was at the top. But you just look, this is dominated by cable news. And Rampage certainly got impacted more. To put this into perspective, last week, Rampage, outside of its normal time slot, was beaten by 3 news shows. This week, there were 37 news shows ahead of Rampage. So their ranking plummeted down to 46th for the night. It was a bad number for Rampage. Their demo was 232,000, a 0.18, and then 473,000 viewers. I think this is one where you just look at, like, news is not going to be at this level on any kind of routine basis outside of something, of such magnitude as Friday was. 18 to 34 was their second lowest in the history in their regular time slot. This was even below the Christmas night and New Year's Eve editions of Rampage, and their 50-plus audience was also dramatically hit on top of this. If this was a pattern, certainly you would look into it, but I am not expecting Rampage to stay at the bottom of the top 50 chart. I think this was just extenuating circumstances. But nonetheless, it does show you that between the two, you're going to get a WWE audience that I think by and large is going to prioritize SmackDown over maybe an AEW viewership that is going to be more affected when something like this happens outside of the wrestling world and attention is drawn to major world events.
Yeah, do you think it's partially the effect of a WrestleMania season, maybe added star power on some of these shows as well?
I think overall there's a buzz attached to the WWE product, and including the Reigns-Lesnar program. I think Ronda Rousey is also, buzzworthy at the moment. So I think your WWE viewer, even one that it's regular viewing, I think there's a heightened interest now on top of it, and and WWE is probably going to ride this wave throughout all of March up through WrestleMania. How would you assess right now the overall? Because right now WrestleMania, to me, it typifies WWE in the sense that if you're looking for future stars and long-term programs, like, this is very much short-term booking. It's a lot of bells and whistles for WrestleMania, random names, celebrities. It's all of the tricks that are being thrown, and that's going to create a lot of noise, a lot of interest. It's short-term, but that's what they're riding that wave.
Yeah, I suppose the idea is always to try to, use the short-term attention to hopefully try to gain enough people to jump on so that when you don't have your Stone Cold Steve Austins, and they don't right now, but like when you don't have a Brock Lesnar or a Ronda Rousey, people will stick around. I certainly wouldn't blame them for it. It's their biggest show of the year, and they haven't even used their biggest names that are rumored for the show yet.
Yeah, you still have angles to shoot and probably a lot of attention that is going to be on WWE through the partnership with NBC Universal. I think that you're going to see like a major promotional push because of the Peacock involvement. And, they're coming off of the Olympics where that was viewed as like a positive for Peacock, as much as people were lamenting the overall television trends for the Olympics this year, which was just kind of an Olympics that people were looking at as like a throwaway Olympics. For Peacock, it was in terms of navigation, it sounded like it was significantly improved upon from the Tokyo Games last year. And you're just seeing the resources that Peacock is putting. They're putting a $3 billion programming budget together for Peacock this year. Like they are just so all in, and WWE benefits greatly by being considered one of those, if you want to call it tentpole events. Like it's maybe not at the level of an Olympics, but it's going to be treated as such by WWE or by Peacock, of using all of its resources to push people to that streaming service over this next month. AEW added to their California debut because we talked about June 3rd that they're going to be live in Ontario, California. Well, 2 days prior for the Dynamite that will be coming out of Double or Nothing, they have in fact booked the Forum in Inglewood, California. So that will be their official California debut coming off of the Vegas weekend. The Forum, of course, for years, the famous home of the Lakers before they went to the Staples Center, and a big building that has housed professional wrestling in the past, although not a regular stop for any companies. WWE has not ran there since 2015 when they did a house show. WCW did, I think it was like 3 events during their peak years and stopped running there in January of '99, but drew very well there. And this is going to be another, an LA market debut for AEW. Traditionally, the first time in the market, AEW makes a big impact. And, you look at a show like this, the Detroit show at the end of the month as well, like how big you stack these television shows. And like, is there a positive in the sense way when you're not doing 12 pay-per-views a year that you can put more of a premium on some of these big editions of Dynamite, because you don't have to save stuff for your every 4-week pay-per-view, that you can make some of your TV shows into like an Arthur Ashe Stadium level of show?
I certainly think so. Yeah. It's, we, on the one hand, I think we're constantly talking about AEW and their roster and how they don't have enough content to really justify the number of people that they're bringing on. But at the same time, it's the lack of content that I think, continues to create a pretty healthy appetite for AEW. So it's a difficult balancing act. But nonetheless, anytime they enter a new market, I think there's a real energy to those particular shows with the crowds just being as hot as they've been. So I definitely look forward to seeing a lot of the California-based talent have maybe some significant matches on this one.
Where would they run if they were to expand into Scarborough?
Oh, yeah, I don't know if there are many places. Maybe the Wexford Collegiate Hockey Arena, perhaps. I mean, I would vote for the Bluffs myself. They could have a ring outside at the Bluffs,
at the Scarborough Bluffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if Scarborough's on the to-do list, but I think that would be where you want to long term where you could go. Someday when they run out of markets. Yeah. Everyone's focused on Toronto. They're overlooking Scarborough and Mississauga. Right. Let's chat a bit about New Japan, because they held their 50th anniversary card earlier today. I've watched pretty much all of the cards, save for 2 matches in the middle, but I so enjoyed the pre-show ceremony that they had. They just had a set of chairs set up in the ring, and one by one they had like legendary announcer Tanaka Kiro out to introduce all of these legends, and it was just one after the other. Wataru Inoue, Jushin Liger, Kuniaki Kobayashi, Seiji Sakaguchi, who was just stood the whole time to greet every person as they entered the ring. Norio Honaga, who was refereeing later on the show. Tiger Hattori, Shoji Kai, who was on that very first show, taking on the Brooklyn Kid. Milano Collection, who had the best entrance, I think, of all of them, coming out with the Invisible Dog. Minoru Tanaka, who was wrestling on the show. Masahiro Kakihara, Kazuo Yamazaki, Yoshiaki Fujiwara, who was in the main event. Akira Maeda was here for the show. Shiro Koshinaka, Kengo Kimura. Kengo Kimura did not come out from the back immediately, so we got Chris Charlton saying, by the time he gets to the ring, it might be the 100th anniversary, which prompted Kevin Kelly to say, thank you, Bobby Heenan. Masahiro Chono, Keiji Muto, who Charlton had the best line as Muto entered the ring. Still a hard man to beat, even today.
Oh,
What a great
that's
line.
pretty good.
What a fantastic line. Ricky Choshu, Tatsumi Fujinami, and then a taped message was sent in. I thought for sure this was the Inoki spot, but it was Satoru Sayama, the original Tiger Mask. No Inoki, although Okada did address Inoki in his post-match address to the crowd that he couldn't attend. Hopefully he can in the future, but it tells you really the limitations of Inoki, because this was the placement to have Inoki. Although, man, the only thing to this was that the arena was not full and the crowd couldn't really react. And that was unfortunate. But I thought this was such a cool ceremony to do. I love that they did this and went to this length to bring in so many people. And what a great photo op here after.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I personally wasn't familiar with a lot of the legends, but just the fact that they were able to do this attached to a professional wrestling sporting event makes it just feel so sports-like and almost bigger than the actual
They were all treated as legends, too. It was just,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And all it does is really help, deepen the, I think, appreciation you have for the company itself and its long lineage and the number of names that are attached to it. So it was really cool, and unfortunate for Inoki, because he did state that it was sort of like a target of his to be a part of the show, and of course, we hope for the best and maybe a future appearance from him.
So just a few notes from the shows. I'm not going to go too in depth into all of the matches, but the opener saw Evil, Yujiro, and Sho defeat Yo, Tiger Mask, and Ryohei Oiwa in 6 minutes 37 seconds when Yujiro pinned Oiwa with the pimp juice. They gave Oiwa at least a near fall on Yujiro with an inside cradle. Taichi teamed with Taka Michinoku and the returning Minoru Tanaka, who was identified from Glate, and as well had his Ledette UWF towel that he displayed. Taking on Bad Luck Fale, Taiji Ishimori, and El Fantasmo. Tanaka, dude, he's been wrestling regularly, so it's not like earth-shattering news. He looked really great for 49 years old in this match. And what I liked about a lot of the... same with like the Strong Hearts, like a lot of the names that were coming in, they got a lot of shine in these matches. Like Tanaka was like the main focus of the team with Taichi and Taka. But it ended when a Michinoku driver attempt was made to Phantasmo, who stopped it and won with the Thunder Kiss 86, pinning Taka in 9:51. And they're doing the dissension among the Bullet Club after Jay White's turn, and Fale, Ishimori, and Phantasmo arguing afterwards. And it was Fale that kind of played peacemaker at the end, and they did the too sweet. El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Doki took on Shima, El Lindemann, and T-Hawk. The Strong Hearts, they were just so fun to watch in this match. Doki had the Suplex de la Luna blocked, and then they triple-teamed Doki. Locomotion German by Lindemann, and then the Night Ride by T-Hawk, followed by the Meteora, and Shima pinned Doki in 9:22. But this was a very fun six-man, and giving a nice win for Shima as he goes into the New Japan Cup. Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, Great-O-Khan, and Aaron Hanare, they defeated Kojima, Nagata, Yuto Nakashima, and Kosei Fujita. This was Nakashima's first match back after that head injury that took him off the recent set of shows. And Fujita was also a replacement, because this was the match that was to feature Tenzan and Kota Ibushi. So they put in the Young Lions in their spots. Fujita was like the last of the four to come in at the end and got a Boston Crab on Okan. Nagata put the Nagata Lock 2 on Ospreay, but then Okan broke free, and the Eliminator by Okan pinned Fujita in 9:19, and then Hanare just destroyed Nakashima on the floor with all of these forearm strikes. And with Hanare, I think he's really blended in like his kickboxing background to be more like it just flows with his style so well now. I think he's really done a great job of incorporating that into his style. So hopefully he gets some momentum in the months to come. And then I missed the next two matches, which included the LIJ 10-man and then the 2 sets of tag champions. But we go to the main event, and it was Okada, Tanahashi, and 68-year-old Tatsumi Fujinami taking on Minoru Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr., and 72-year-old Yoshiaki Fujiwara.
This was certainly the match I was most interested to see coming out of this one. I mean, it feels like 2022 is the coming out year for the 70-plus wrestler because
70 is the new 40.
70 is the new 40, apparently. And you know what? I thought Fujiwara looked pretty awesome for 72. I'd be happy if I could walk down the ramp like he does at that age.
I will never allow you at 72 to ram your head into a metal turnbuckle.
That was a bit unnecessary. But
completely unnecessary for this man. Fujiwara got by on some tremendous interactions with Minoru Suzuki that so often it's Minoru Suzuki is like the angry drill sergeant dick coach. And this time it's a reminder that there was a time he was the student and the senior dick asshole coach came back to show him that you still are the follower of me. And he was just admonishing Suzuki, and it put like Suzuki into like the role of like the son that is still always after the approval of father.
Yeah. Like think about that. But to me, it was something that showcased, I think, the great comedic sense of Fujiwara and especially Minoru Suzuki, who just, one of the funniest portions was like Fujiwara continually refused to tag Suzuki in. So like he left him hanging. He tags in Zack Sabre and like Suzuki's like just got his hand extended out. Like, what about
and
me?
And Fujiwara just, no. He just turned it. Like, they got away with it. Like, listen, Fujinami and Fujiwara, you're not going to be,
They were in the ring a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah,
man.
it was,
I thought it was, like, good for what it was.
No one was there to see these guys, performing some athletic miracles. It was like the legend of these two involved and weaving them in with the modern stars. And I thought it was nice additions for the match. And Chris Charlton had some stats here. Between the six, 193 years of experience and 14,988 matches.
That is quite the stat.
That is quite the stat. They went through like Suzuki leaving New Japan and following with Fujiwara, and you got Okada, Tanahashi, and Fujinami all coming out in the robes that Okada has been wearing. So that was a cool touch. And kind of it built up to Okada and Suzuki. It is what it came down to. Fujinami applied a Dragon Sleeper, or at least did his best to apply a Dragon Sleeper, and then set him up for a Sling Blade from Tanahashi. There was a pile driver from Okada to Suzuki. Rainmaker is countered, but he escaped the rear naked choke. Dropkick, landslide, Rainmaker, and Okada pins Suzuki in 18 minutes and 14 seconds. And then afterwards, addressing the crowd with Okada mentioning Inoki. He couldn't appear due to his health issues. And each got their time to speak to the crowd, and then all taking part in Ichi Nisan Da, the famous Inoki catchphrase. And they got Choshu and Chono at ringside to stand up. As at first the announcers were like, oh, they're going to bring them into the ring. It's like, no, I think they're just going to stand at their current position. So anyway, I thought this was like a very entertaining, fun show to watch for the theme of what it was. It was celebrating 50 years of New Japan, and I thought they really went above and beyond to pay homage to their history and bring as many names back that were physically able to appear. And like, if you were a fan of New Japan in the 70s or 80s, you'd watch this, and this was not like bringing your legends back and mocking them or making fools of them. It was like honoring your history and giving you a feel-good show for stars that were probably a big part of your fandom.
I mean, I'm not somebody who was a fan of the product back then, but even I could appreciate, I think, just the fanfare and the respect that they have for their elders and their legends, whether or not they're, working for competing companies at the moment. And no matter how maybe sour some of their exits might have been, and more importantly, I think it just offered a slice of different and it's something different for a New Japan show that has otherwise become pretty stale with the same roster. So, just to even see the addition of some of the great guys, I thought made a very worthwhile, interesting, and fun show.
Yeah, so this was night one at Nippon Budokan. The announce crowd was 3,182. So, I mean, hardly a full house at Budokan. And I don't even know what the exact, if it's still half capacity. I don't even know what their upper limit is, but that wouldn't even be half of Budokan. But they're running it again tomorrow. The show will stream at 3:30 a.m. Eastern, early Wednesday. And I'm going to read out the opening round matches, and you give me your prediction, okay?
Okay.
So we've got Shima versus Taka Michinoku. The winner faces Yoshinobu Kanemaru in the second round. And there are some baffling participants that are getting buys to the second round.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Shima for that one.
I think that's a safe bet. Tomoaki Honma against Yoshihashi. Winner advances to face Kosei Fujita.
Without really following story, I can't really tell you who might be more, but I mean, I'm probably going to say Yoshihashi.
Yuji Nagata versus Hiroki Goto, which could be a very entertaining match. And then the winner takes on Dick Togo.
Okay, yeah, hard to pick
this
that one.
This could be either one. I could see this being a mild upset of Nagata beating Goto. I think most assume Goto.
Yeah, I would assume Goto.
Togi Makabe and Jeff Cobb. I think this is an easy one for Cobb. And then the winner faces Satoshi Kojima.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I think Cobb's going to go pretty far.
Taichi and Toru Yano. The winner goes all the way to the third round because Tenzan is out. He was going to get a first round bye. And so the winner of this will face either Okada and Desperado's winner or Master Wato. So the winner will face Okada in the third round.
Right. Yeah, I think anytime you have Yano in one of these circumstances, I mean, it could always be him. He could beat anybody. So maybe why not this one?
Tanahashi will beat Yo. I think that's a given. The winner faces Bad Luck Fale. Naito and Yujiro, the Battle of No Limit. Winner faces Geto in the next round. Who will get the dream match with Geto?
Yeah.
I think we're getting Naito and Geto. That would be my impression.
I would think so as well.
And then the main event is your IWGP Heavyweight Champion in Okada taking on Junior Heavyweight Champion El Desperado. The winner takes on Master Wato.
Okay, there you go. So, yeah, this would otherwise be, I mean, traditionally what they would do would be for the anniversary show.
Yeah, instead they're doing it the second night for the opening round with Okada and Desperado. So do you think that the New Japan Cup, has it lost a lot with the elimination of Kota Ibushi?
I do, but I mean, to be quite honest, even with Ibushi on the show, I don't know how interested I would have been. It's a very big field. I'll probably pay a bit more attention when we get closer to the end. But yeah, Ibushi was probably maybe the biggest name, at least the freshest one as well.
And the last thing we'll note is NXT 2.0 tonight. They have 7 matches announced. This has to be a record for NXT. So we have Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa against Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Carmelo Hayes defending the North American title against Pete Dunne. Gunther versus Solo Sikoa. Andre Chase. Dude, I love Andre Chase. He is my guilty pleasure on NXT. That promo they did last week, the ones in the classroom, I think this guy's so entertaining.
He's fun. Do you see him ever making
No, I don't see him going anywhere. But I love this character.
Well, do you see him being called up to the main roster with the gimmick?
Anything's possible, I guess. I just think he's made the best of this character, and I find him to be super entertaining. Against Von Wagner, who, dude, even now that they've given Robert Stone, and they give him like one line at the end of the promo, like this guy, dude, he should not be talking.
That's why he is a manager. I mean, yeah.
Harland versus Draco Anthony, and then in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez against Yulissa Leone and Valentina Feroz, and Indy Hartwell and Persha Parada against Wendy Chu and Dakota Kai. Given the issues with Parada and Indy, I can see the upset here, and Dakota and Wendy Chu advance. And then Cora and Raquel Gonzalez beat Leone and Valentina.
Yeah, I can see both of those things. Indy and Persha have already challenged for the belts prior to the tournament. So, yeah, sure, why not?
Now Duke Hudson's getting between them.
I know. Drama
on the USA Network tonight. So there you go. That is NXT 2.0.
Yeah. I think he also. Oh, oops! I forgot to change this. But we also have an announcement for Bloodsport, don't we, John?
That's right. So they have announced Jon Moxley against Biff Busick. So this is the second match Moxley is going to be doing that day, because later that night he is taking on AJ Gray, defending the GCW title. So Moxley's doing So in theory, he's on Dynamite the night before, and then gets to Texas for 2 matches.
That's crazy.
Unless he's off Dynamite that week. But yeah, 2 matches in one day. And yeah, like Biff Busick, that's going to be a match that people are going to be looking forward to.
This dude is making up for lost time, and I don't think either of those matches are going to be, cakewalks. Bloodsport. I mean, sometimes they go the grappling route, but for its main events, especially the Moxley main events, I mean, they tend to be just very stiff looking brawls, and between Busick and Moxley, that's definitely going to be a bit of a workout. So he's definitely making up for lost time.
Actually, as we close this off, this on up on the website right now, WWE expands their partnership with A&E and Most Wanted Treasures to begin production and a new series. So Andrew did a recap of this story. A press release was issued today concerning the partnership between WWE and A&E Network. Their business dealings are expanding as new seasons of Biography and Most Wanted Treasures are set to begin production. A&E also greenlit a new series called WWE Rivals, which is the working title as of the press release. This is a multi-year expansion between both parties that is going to include more than 130 hours of WWE-themed series and specials.
Wow.
So that's a significant deal. Obviously not on the level of their biggest U.S. television rights, but probably a sizable deal when it looks to be multiple years and that 3 separate series of new original content that they'll be providing for A&E.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems to be similar to what they had before with the Biography series and Most Wanted Treasures. Is that exactly what they had before with Triple H and Top Dollar?
AJ Francis
Yeah.
is the host. They'll need to find a new host.
They'll have to have a new host, unfortunately.
And I that would be very interesting because that was heavily built around Paul Levesque as kind of the face of that show too.
Yeah.
If that continues.
So that continues. But this new show about WWE Rivals sounds pretty interesting. That is a working title, they said. But will chronicle little-known stories behind the biggest clashes in WWE history. It's revelatory insights from those who are part of the rivalries that often extend far beyond the ring and the cameras. Okay, this is something I've always wanted to see a bit more of, them focusing on a particular feud and talking to the participants about some of the stories, maybe showcasing some of the wrestling as well. They kind of dove into it a little with Brett and Shawn.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That DVD, when it came out, it was marketed as like this was going to be an anthology. This was not just going to be a one-off with Brett and Shawn, but they never continued the series with any other rivalries. And you have access to so many people that you could do it. I really like the concept of that, of the two sitting down together. And it was like an awkward discussion at times because you could see like Brett is not the let's make bygones be bygones type of guy. Yeah, so I thought they were going to continue this. I thought it was like a really interesting idea. Like you've told these stories so many times, but the idea of the two of them together
In the same room.
I think it was Jim Ross that hosted that. So obviously that's I think that it's a concept that I would hope that they kind of follow in that.
Doesn't
put the
seem
two
like
guys
it'll.
together.
I don't think it'll be like that though. Like it's not going to be like this was essentially a podcast, like the Brett and Shawn one. This seems like it'll be a bit more produced. They'll kind of tell you about the. I hope they focus less on maybe like. Hey, what is it like this kind of kayfabe story? I would love to hear more about like rivalries with some actual beef behind the scenes,
Yeah, I mean, you could do Vince McMahon and Bob Costas.
Yeah, I don't know if they can get Costas. Maybe they can actually. Costas has done some of this stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff to watch and a lot of stuff for John Cena to review, I'm sure.
Oh yes, plenty to look forward to. So once we finish here, what are you up to?
Well, first, I think I'm gonna look through some of these super chats. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, that's what I was going to do. So I'm glad you're deciding to do it in tandem here.
All right. Of course, we are live every single weekday here at youtube.com/postwrestling. And if you want to get a question in,
you can star them. That's smart.
Yeah. You're seeing my behind the scenes setup here. Actually,
I learned all these little life hacks when I watch from Wai's perspective.
There you go. We got a fact channel who sends in $2 super chat who simply says,
"That's our next shirt."
Achieve. Obey.
Daniel
sends a £3 super chat who says, "Who do you want to see Kyrie face most in Stardom?"
Oh, there's so many. And I think they'll get to them. I think they're going to space out her big matches, but Utami's a big one. Shuri. I think doing like a Kyrie and Mayu. It's like they're going to team on the first night at at the end of March, but I think those two together, there's such a long list of people in Stardom that I think you could have some really compelling stories. And I like the idea of Kairi not necessarily being like your full-time performer, but she's going to be used in special situations for big matches. So I think it's going to be, someone that can really represent like a growth for Stardom, that people are going to seek out Stardom, because this is like your on-ramp is Kairi, who people may be more familiar with outside of Stardom than when she was with Stardom.
Yeah, by far the biggest name. Do you see them giving her a run with one of the championships?
I think there's definitely a compelling story of her going for the championship, and if there's enough like momentum, yeah, you could do that, or just the idea of challenging. I think there's the great story of just her going back and challenging for that title, whether it be Shuri or somebody else down the road that has the title. Yeah.
All right, we go up next to Ruza, who sends a $7.99. I believe this is Australian dollars. Super chat. He says, "Hey guys, great you are together again. What are your updated predictions for TK's announcement? Is he buying ROH / Super Show? Buying the Super Show. I love the new YouTube live post show schedule. Any updated predictions for?
I don't like making predictions when it's just like total guesses. Like the ROH one, to me, it
doesn't seem big enough.
I don't. To me, the value of ROH, like, what are you buying? Like, are you buying like their syndicated slots to put in what? Like a new show that you're going to produce? It's the tape library. And to me, I'm sorry, if he comes on TV and announces a tape library, I don't think that's the kind of thing that is now, if they bought a tape library and they're announcing the launch of a streaming service, like that's a high level announcement. It's
But he has said that it's an announcement that'll be like have an impact on the industry, I believe were his words. I mean, I suppose
that's
even
vague.
that would have some sort of impact, but I mean, I don't know if even that is big enough for the way he's been building this up.
Well, I think that there's some that no matter what the announcement will be able to, that's it. Sometimes it's like, promoters are going to build up announcements. I remember this was going years and years back into the 2000s when the UFC had hyped up like a major announcement. And it was that Lorenzo Fertitta was devoting all of his time now to UFC instead of like station casinos. And to the public, it's like, that means nothing to them. But that truly was like a massive change with Lorenzo Fertitta dedicating everything to UFC. But that's what you've got to balance. Like, what is the audience going to see as a big deal versus what is an internal business deal? I think Tony Khan has a very good handle of what his audience will believe is a big announcement versus like a distribution deal that, like, what is in it for the fan?
I'm very surprised at how under wraps he's been able to keep this, because I mean, usually for announcements like this, I think somebody somewhere will have leaked it to you're like a reporter or somebody in the inner circle, not the group, but his inner circle, and I haven't heard anything. So your guess is as good as mine right now at this point.
Do you see it being having an impact on the number Wednesday night? Like, do you think that
I
feels
do.
like the number one thing on Wednesday night?
I mean, for better or worse, this is a company that I think has largely built itself on the surprise. Who's going to show up, who's going to appear for their peaks, and I don't see this week being any different.
I mean, to me, it's a smart strategy that you're putting all of this spotlight on your go-home show, that people are going to tune in, and while you're waiting for the surprise, you're probably going to get some great like final promos and setup for this loaded show on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to this pay-per-view on Sunday.
Me too, dude.
I don't know if there's been an AEW show that I've been this intrigued by with just the lineup on paper. It's a wide variety, and I cannot see this show being a disappointment, at least from what is set up as of several days out.
More talk on Revolution to come, I'm sure, but last one here from Brandon from New Jersey. Great to see you two live. Well, always great to hear from you, Brandon.
Yes. A frequent contributor, one Brandon from New Jersey. Okay, last plug. Again, we're back tonight with our latest edition of Talk. So if you want to know what happens when the mics go off here, well, we turn on another mic and just chat about life at large. So that will be available tonight for all members at postwrestlingcafe.com. It's a new month, so join now. $6 gets you in the door. Minimum 2 bonus shows per week. Access to all of our archives, including 104 editions of Rewind Away, access to Rewind to SmackDown every Friday night. And as we mentioned Monday, we will now be going live on this very YouTube channel every Monday and Wednesday after Raw and Dynamite and SmackDown for the first portion. But you can always tune in and listen and watch live for free on Monday and Wednesday after Raw and Dynamite.
Very excited.
So we'll chat with you Wednesday night on this channel, 10:15 Eastern Time. And that is it. Thank you for tuning in for your post-daily news show.